Honestly, Jude, I know how to do that. What I actually came to do was this.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I will be doing another episode recap for today's Days of Our Lives, July 16, 2024. So in the first scene we see Eric and he's with Jude, basking in all this newly found fatherhood duty, right? So he's just saying, he's just super excited to have him back. Then we see Roman coming in, right? And Roman is like, Eric, I thought you were supposed to be on your flight. And who's this baby? Is this Jude? So he's like, yeah, this is Jude. Come meet your grandson, right? So he's like, Roman is just like stunned. He's like, how did this happen? So Eric begins to fill him in about him finding out about Jude and him being the father when Nicole went to the airport to tell him about it. And then he also told him about EJ's role in it all. And Roman is just upset about it, like, how could he do this, right? But either way, his focus is just on the fact that Eric is beaming, he's happy that he got his son and that he gets to spend time with his grandson and that he just can't wait to spoil him and just, spend time with him, right? So then Roman just jumped the gun and talked about Nicole and like, so what does this mean for you and Nicole? You guys are getting back together. And Eric is like, I can't believe you said that because it's like I literally just get my son back. I'm not like focused on like us getting back together. And besides, we don't know if Nicole is gonna stay with EJ or they're divorcing. And Roman is like, I can't think that Nicole would stay with him after learning the truth. I don't think she'll stay with him. And then Eric is like, me neither. So Roman is like, I'm glad you get to stay here. And I see Jude, and Eric is like, I may not stay here. I may take that job. I just push it back, because of this new event, right? So, he's not sure if he's staying in Salem. And Roman is like, oh, why? Like, you have your son, you have everything you finally wanted, right? Why would you leave? So, he's like, you know what? I have some stuff to do around the pub. So you have a lot of decisions to make. And I would suggest the first thing you do is talk to Nicole. So anyways, we go on to the next scene, right? Speaking of Nicole, we see Nicole at the Spectator office, right? And she's with Leo. So Leo actually was on the phone with Marlena earlier, and she was like, Leo, I told you this already. If you wanted to have an appointment with me, you need to set it with my secretary. So he's like, no, this is not about that. I just want to see if you want to watch Drag Race again. And if your husband is there, we can all watch it together. So she's like, I'll let you know. So he's like, I hope I wasn't being too pushy and all that. Yes, you were, Leo, Lord. But anyways, Nicole came in and then he was informing Nicole about Everett coming back to work and all that. So she's like, I'm not here to talk about that, like, you weasel. Like, you knew all along that EJ wasn't the father and you just played along with it. So Leo, in his defense, he said, like, I didn't know that baby was EJ's all along. Like, I really didn't know. So he defended himself, and Nicole wasn't buying it at all because she's like, you don't have an honest bone in your body. And he's like, I'm working on myself. I'm actually going to therapy. I'm trying to be a better person, right? He said he did explain that EJ did bribe him to keep quiet about Jude's paternity. And at that time, he was inebriated. He was drunk. So he told EJ that the baby was his and Nicole's at the time, but he really didn't know that it was Eric's baby, right? So he said that he was really sorry about it. He didn't do his best to protect Nicole and the baby. Consider he helped Nicole birth the baby. So Nicole is like, if you really want to make it up to me, you need to testify in court against EJ. What EJ did was a crime and he needs to go down for it. It's not enough that I'm divorcing him, but he needs to go in jail. And Leo says that as much as I really wish you all the best, you three all the best, and I want you guys to be happy, like, I really can't do it. And she's like, are you afraid of what might happen? Are you afraid of EJ? He's like, no, I just really don't think I can do that, right? But anyways, we see Marlena go over to the Demare mansion, and Seth, EJ is there, right? EJ is like, oh, Marlena, your grandson, you come to see your grandson. I know he and Chanel had an ordeal, and he need all the support he can get. And she was like, no, 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 no. I'm not here for that at all. I'm here to see you, and you know what I'm here for. And he's like, I think I have an idea. So we're here to talk about Jude. So anyways, I don't know. EJ was being smug, and he's like, if you're looking for Jude, he's not here. They took off, right? And she's like, if I really need to see Jude, I know where I need to be, right? I know when I can be there, right? So she just like, I'm here to see you, and you need this. So I don't know, I was laughing at how she slapped EJ, because that slap was just, I don't know, it didn't have enough for me. But anyways, EJ deserved that slap, and he's like, I suppose I deserve it. And she's like, how could you do this? Like, you hurt Eric and you put him through this. And he's like, I know. And he didn't really have an excuse or anything like that. And she was surprised, like, he didn't have an excuse, because normally he would have something to say. So he's like, I really don't deserve any pity or anything. Like, I really did what I did because of I really love Nicole, and I really didn't want to lose her. And she was like, you're smarter than this. Like, you knew that doing this would really push them apart. So he was like, he saw her and Eric all the time, so he was just had to do what he had to do. But anyways, we see Connie and Bobby from yesterday's episode, right? So Connie didn't tell Bobby about the fact that she stabbed Rafe in the back, right? She didn't get to that part, but she is gonna tell him now how she got rid of him, right? So Bobby's like, I didn't sign off on this. Like, I didn't ask for this, right? She said, don't you want to be closer to Jada? Like, this is the only way how. I don't have the means to ship nobody off to no private island. So that's a nod to other people doing it, like the Demaras and all that, right? So she's like, I don't have the money or the means to do that. So this is all I know. And he reminded her of how she stabbed Lee in the back. And she's like, it's different, because she blamed Gabby and Melinda for that. And she really didn't mean to do that to Lee and all that in her, psychotic mind, right? But anyways, Bobby's like, we can't really see each other. People can't really see us together because they could put 2 and 2 together, right? So she's like, as long as you keep up your end of the bargain, you won't tell anybody about Lee, right? So he's like, yeah, I won't, but we just can't be seen together, right? So anyways, we see Gabby and Jada at the hospital, right? And they're just anxiously waiting on news from Rafe and what's going on with him, right? She's like, how could this happen? And then she remembers this is exactly what happened to Lee, him being stabbed in the back and all that. And she's like, at least you didn't pull out the knife like I stupidly did. And she's like, no, I didn't. I waited for the ambulance to come and take him. So she's like, is there any connection between this and what happened to Lee? And she said, possibly, and she's like, yeah, it possibly could be, because according to your ex, the killer may still be on the in the streets. So there is a connection, obviously, right? So anyways, we see Kayla come up, and Kayla tells them that Rafe is in surgery because it's a really deep injury that he sustained, right? So she's going to go to surgery and do what she needs to do and let them know in a bit, right? So they're just anxiously waiting. At this point, Jada gets her equipment together to go into the trauma unit to retrieve the knife, and Gabby went to the chapel to do some prayers for Rafe, right? So Jada goes into the trauma unit, and she's emotional. I just feel like it's too close to comfort. Somebody else with objectivity should have done this. But anyways, she put on her gloves and she retrieved the knife, and then she went over to see the bloody Rafe's bloodied shirt, and she held it together. She just held it to herself, and started breaking down, right? Because obviously she's distraught about what happened to Rafe, right? So she did end up going back outside to see Gabby, and they started talking about her calling the forensics and making sure that they put a rush on it because it's a commissioner and she really wants to know if, she can find any fingerprints, any clues, right? So we move on to the next scene. So we see Roman go over to Marlena's, right? And Marlena's like, oh, you're back from Chicago. How was it? And he's like, yeah, it was good. I got to see Rex and all that. So they started talking about it being a happy day because he found out that, Jude is really his grandson and Eric is happy that, he got his son back. So they're happy for him and all that. So then he's like, hopefully him and Nicole can get together, right? And he's like, what do you think? And she's like, only time will tell, but I'm hopeful, right? So they're just happy, grandparents happy for their son, understandably, right? So Eric is back in his room with Jude, and he's just talking to him, and he's like, maybe your grandfather is right about me and your mom, right? So he's thinking about it more and more and seeing if he really wants to leave, because how would it work with him and Nicole and them having custody of Jude? Like, how would that work with Nicole? We know Nicole is she will be leaving the show at some point in this month, so yeah, let's see how that all works if they all leave. But I don't think she said they didn't get the happy ending they rightfully deserve after all these years, right? But we see Nicole open the door, and I guess we'll see what happens with them tomorrow, right? So we see EJ back at the mansion, and he has an envelope in his hand, and I thought it was gonna be a termination notice, but it looked like the divorce papers came really quick, child. And he's like, Marlene, I guess my comeuppance is coming right now, right? Because Marlena did wish that he has long-term suffering, and Marlena doesn't wish bad on a lot of people, right? But I guess because it's her family, she's like, you hurt my family enough, and I hope that your suffering comes quick and long, right? So, oh boy, poor EJ. I feel sorry for him, honestly. I have a little bit of pity for him because he really truly loved Nicole, and Nicole really didn't deserve him. I think he was a phenomenal husband in the beginning, but he got desperate and it just got out of hand with Eric being around, and he got insecure. And I just feel as the marriage should be insecure, but look at Kristen. She's insecure too, right? But anyways, going to the next scene, right? We see Connie coming out of Bobby's room, right? And Leo is there because, Leo lives there too. Leo lives in another room there, right? So she's like, oh, you're a lady whistleblower. And he's like, yeah, I read your column all the time. I really like them. And he's like, okay, yeah. And then he's like, oh, you're coming out of Everett's room, right? And he's like, Everett? And she's like, yeah, we go way back. So she just started bolting up, and he was like, wait, you don't want an autograph or a picture or something? So I guess Leo will put the missing pieces together with linking Connie to these stabbings, right? So anyways, let's go on to the last scene, right? So we see Gabby and Jada waiting, right? And then Kayla comes out of the operating room. So she informs them that Rafe is out of surgery, and they're like, what happened? So I'm afraid I have bad news. He suffered a pulmonary embolism, and unfortunately he's in a coma. So they're just distraught, emotional. I already suspected that he would have been in a coma, but hopefully it's not a drawn-out thing like the other ones, right? But, oh boy, I hope they find Connie soon. I hope they get this out of the way, because I really don't like this character. But anyways, guys, that is it. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Comment your thoughts below on today's episode. I will see you tomorrow for an all-new recap. Bye.